Hello, and welcome to a fresh and bubbly episode of Name That Wine. I'm Rob Frisch, writer of the award-winning wine blog oddbacchus.com.
And I'm Liz Barrett. I'm a certified specialist of wine, and I write the blog called What's in That Bottle. And we have an amazing special guest with us today, Delphine Vesselle from Champagne Jean Vesselle in, of course, the Champagne region. We all know the first one, Champagne, to be Champagne, it must be produced in the Champagne region of France. And that's what this is, and we're excited to taste it.
Oh my god, I'm so excited, because for goodness sake, Champagne, I think it is the greatest wine made in the world, right? I mean, after all, what do you drink to celebrate the birth of the new year? What?
Champagne.
Champagne. What do you drink at your ex-husband's funeral? Champagne. That's right.
What do you open up on a Monday night? Champagne.
You make grower champagne, which is a very exciting category of champagne because many champagnes are in fact blends from all over the region, and this, your wine, is specifically from, of course, my favorite town in France, Bouzy. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we are wine growers, so that means we are our vines and we are cultivating our grapes. And we are making our champagne from our own grapes. So that's a big difference.
Big difference.
It's a big house, because a big house are buying grapes, or buying juice, or buying wine, all over the Champagne region. We can have a control from the beginnings, like walking on the soil, until the commercialization. So we have all the steps. So we have a full control of all what we have in our glass.
And I think that's the big difference. So grower champagne, like Champagne Jean Vesselle, that Delphine and her husband David make, it's exactly what she said. It is, they grow the grapes from, you know, tiny little babies, go all the way to the beautiful finished product, where the big houses, whether it's, you know, Veuve Clicquot or Moet Chandon, there's so many of them, and they purchase most of their fruit.
Certainly you can get a wonderful champagne by blending grapes. I mean, I think, yeah, Krug is probably a negociant, isn't it, for example, which is amazing, yes. But this champagne has, would you say, more of a sense of terroir, just because it comes from the one place?
We try to respect the most we can the quality of our grapes, and also the originality, the terroir, of course, but also the respect of the year. And we are not able to mix everything, so that's would be more an authenticity.
Yes, and Bouzy, that is top champagne territories. I mean, that's like Grand Cru vineyards between Reims and Epernay.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest Grand Cru in Champagne area, and it's very, very well known for its Pinot Noir. Bouzy terroir is mostly for the Pinot. So if you love Pinot, of course, you will love Bouzy.
Well, and who does not love Pinot? Absolutely.
Tell us about the first wine.
So the first one is a Brut Reserve. It's a blend of actually 80% Pinot Noir and 20% Chardonnay.
And Brut is the most common style of champagne you will find on the store shelves. Yeah. That has that lovely sort of yeasty, like toasty, or maybe like brioche kind of note in the nose that I love in champagne.
Yeah, that yeasty brioche, like bread proving on your counter. I just love. That's, to me, how you know it's champagne. That's like the first giveaway, because you don't get that in other sparkling wines quite often.
It's rare.
It would be very complex in the aroma, but also very, very thin and very elegant, which is also the part of the Chardonnay come here.
You know what I love about this is it has this sort of zesty kind of like green apple acid, and then it rounds out into the like a little bit of a berry note, and all through it the bubbles are so teeny, and I love it.
Oh my gosh,
that is dreamy.
Like zesty acidity. Like my mouth is watering right now.
So this one for the Brut Reserve, which is very nice. It's for me a very easy champagne.
Certainly easy for me to drink.
Yeah, so easy. So we recommend it for, of course, aperitif, but also you can have a little bit of spicy with it, because it's still okay. And if you have some people who love like kind of creamy soft cheese, that's
Camembert.
or even
right. That would
stronger, like the showers or something like that.
Ooh, that would cut right through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shall we move on to the next?
Let's.
This one, I must say, the color reminds me of the eye of a partridge.
Oeil de Perdrix, right?
So yeah, the Oeil de Perdrix is actually a real Blanc de Noir. Most of people, when they look at it, say, "Oh, it's a light rosé."
And
it's not. So it's a 100% Pinot Noir. For me, this is the soul of the Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is very tough. You can make white, you can make pink, you can make red with it. So it's a wonderful grapes.
I think it's absolutely stunning. I'm really loving this sort of savory note. There's like a savory kind of almost like bacon saltiness in a way underneath. It's just a subtle thing, but it makes it so, kind of deeper and it's soulful. I love it.
It has a kind of minerality.
That's it.
But a very good fruitness. Fruit and wine.
You got like strawberries and maybe like black cherry, which to me is so, those are two things that always go with Pinot Noir.
So just to tell you a little bit about the story, more than 150 years ago in our region, so in Champagne region, but mostly in Bouzy, but in those regions, the Pinot Noir was very rare. So the time the Pinot come to the house to be pressed, it had a kind of little maceration already inside the grapes. In Champagne, we are not allowed to use harvesting machines, so the harvest is always done by hand. That means that you have the full grapes, and when you put in the press, you will have already a color. So all the champagne from this region was slightly pink, but in 1920, when the big houses start to show the champagne all over the road, like in US, for example, the champagne should be white or pink, but not in between. So the Oeil de Perdrix disappeared completely because the big house started to take out the color. So when my father took over the business of his own father in 1970, he had some people coming from Paris. So there was some people who have a wine shop and another people who are wine writers. He wanted to surprise them. And then he said, oh, because sometimes people from Paris know everything about everything. So he came to his cellar, take a very whole bottle from his own grandfather and pour it. And the champagne was like that. So they said, oh, but John, what are you pouring? What is this kind of champagne? And he said, well, this is an Oeil de Perdrix. Oeil de what? And so he explained that this is the name of the color because the partridge have a red eyes. Oh. So that's why we call it like that.
Eye of the partridge.
So they drink it. And how they were so exciting about this. They said, Jean, you should do it again. I said, right, but then I have to sell it. So they said, okay, if you do a very nice Oeil de Perdrix, we will help you to promote it, and that's how it comes, and that was one of really something my father was very well known for. It's a very welcoming champagne. So
I would love to have that with food.
You will love and any food.
So shall we go on to the? I can only assume this must be the eye of the tiger. This is a gorgeous color.
It's so pretty.
So this is a Rosé de Saignée. 80% of the rosé are made by blend. So that means 20% of the rosé in Champagne area are made by contact skin. Yeah. So that's why we call it Rosé de Saignée. So when I took over the business of my own father, so in '93, the first thing I done, the first harvest, I was on my own control, is to make Rosé de Saignée. Because my father was used to make a rosé by blend. So he had white wine, red wine, and make a mix. And I said to my dad, well, no, it's not going with the philosophy of Jean Vesselle. You are making an Oeil de Perdrix, which is very natural. You are making an Brut, which is very natural, different kind of champagne. And then you are making a rosé, which is a blend. So I said, well, I would like to make a rosé by contact skin.
Yeah.
Yes. And he said, well, you're mad, you're young, you don't know what you say. And then, but I'm a little bit stubborn, so I said, hey, but I want to do it. And he said, okay, but no mistake allowed. No pressure.
No pressure. No problem.
Pressure.
Just something flawless. That's fine.
David, was already with me, and so it was our first experience to make our Rosé de Saignée. I can tell you we didn't sleep very well the first night, but we made it.
It's insane. It's so delicious.
Gorgeous. I can't even right now.
I mean, the food possibilities, I mean, it's nowhere near what you think of when sweet like a Moscato. It's so beautiful.
I mean, the food, I was thinking the seduction possibilities, because this is a sexy wine, because it's not sweet and very balanced, but then under it is this really rich, deep fruit, and ooh, it's making my toes curl.
Oh my God, I would seduce a hamburger. I would seduce a filet mignon. I would seduce a chocolate cupcake.
I mean, chocolate is wonderful.
Chocolate.
Friandise in French is like a treat. A kind of treat.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it like that. And so the Demi-Sec, sometimes some people are very afraid of it because it had a bad reputation at one stage, like the Demi-Sec was too sweet. So what we've done for that is we've done a blind tasting and we tried different level of sugar, and actually what's happened is the sugar is level up the fruitness of the wine. So this is one of the most natural Kir Royale you can have.
Yes, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yes, the best Kir Royale I've ever had in my life.
So before we let you go, I want to tell our fabulous champagne loving viewers, if you were looking for grower champagne, A, look for Champagne Jean Vesselle because it's delicious.
It's fantastic.
2, study the label. There are 2 words, récoltant, manipulant, RM, and that means it is a grower champagne.
Bring your reading glasses because it's always in the smallest possible font. These are sensational. Thank you so much for sharing them with us.
Thank you.
Delphine Vesselle, cheers. Yes, I don't even know what to...
Which one?